When you have sex with someone, you form a link with them. When two people are sexually connected, neurochemical changes occur in both of their brains, promoting limbic emotional connection. Limbic connection is the reason why casual sex does not function for most people Two people may decide to have sex for the sake of having sex, but something else is happening on another level that they may not have decided on at all. Sex strengthens their emotional link whether they want it or not. One person, usually a woman, is bound to develop feelings for the other and will be heartbroken if the casual romance stops. One reason why women are usually the ones who suffer the most is because their limbic systems are larger than men's, which is what we call soul ties. Yeah, sex is like gluing two pieces of wood together and then pulling them apart the next day. The wood from the opposite end, of course, remains on each board. A portion of your sex partner, good, horrible, and ugly, stays with you for the rest of your life, and vice versa. So you can only image what it would be like to bond with numerous partners. Unhealthy soul ties are the consequences of having partners with whom you form a lifelong bond through a sexual experience, but with whom you only have a short-term relationship. Because we don't know if the relationship is still. The tie endures long after the relationship has ended, leaving both sexual partners yearning for wholeness. People are uninformed and hence convinced that sex is solely a bodily act with no emotional or spiritual links. However, after sex, they find themselves strangely craving for someone they may not even like. A person, generally a woman, devotes herself sexually to another person with the expectation that the deeply intimate act of intercourse will form a link that will lead to further degrees of commitment in the relationships. However, she quickly realizes that her sexual partner took advantage of her yearning for intimacy and exploited her vulnerability to have sex. Of course, this results in a person becoming emotionally and spiritually attached to someone they despise. Because two people commit to marriage, they believe that the covenant vows are really a formality. As a result, they live together and have a sexual connection outside of a long-term commitment. However, for whatever reason, they subsequently decide that they do not want to be in a covenant relationship and finally break up. They usually aren't aware of how profoundly they have hurt each other while their souls are pulled apart, destroying the very fabric of their existence in the process. 7. 0 to 40, 120. Greater than 0, 3, 28, 180. Listen, whether you're religious or not, soul ties is a philosophy that anybody can explain and comprehend. It's the belief that certain behaviors can bring you closer to someone and form bonds that are difficult to break. Soul bonds are commonly considered to be formed through sex. The physical act of giving yourself to another person exposes you to such a bond. Sexual intercourse is utilized to unite two people in a loving and empowering way in a good relationship. It is the way a couple expresses their love and devotion to one another. In a tumultuous, angry, and dysfunctional relationship like mine, however, sex leads you to and damages you. So, while it is relatively straightforward to discern good and emotionally rich soul ties, it is more difficult to identify harmful ones. Intercourse with your spouse should be a pleasurable experience. It combines your energy and should leave you both feeling loved, adored, appreciated, and fulfilled. If you are having sexual relations with your spouse, but are left feeling hollow, underappreciated, used, or dirty, you are having a negative emotional reaction to your relationship that should be addressed. If there is no resolution, or if your experience is due to the state of the relationship, it is time to part ways. If you want to know if you're consider how you feel in their presence. If you are constantly gloomy, hopeless, confined, and depressed, You are in various unhealthy ways attached to your relationship. A bad soul tie will lead you to believe that love is intended to feel gloomy and miserable, with no light at the end of the tunnel. So here are 3 indicators that you may have a soul connection. The first symptom is that you are in a physically, emotionally, or spiritually abusive relationship, yet are too attached to the individual to terminate the connection and set boundaries. Oh, I know what you're talking about since I've been there. I can speak about it since that was my life. I was terrified of losing her. I was terrified of letting her go. I was terrified of what would happen if I ever met someone else like her. The second element is that you may have left a relationship a long time ago, but you still think about the other person incessantly. You can't seem to get them out of your head. It appears to be your own withdrawal. Your intellect appears to be on steroids. It's as if you can't get her or him out of your head because every time you close your eyes, you can see this person. It's as if you've formed an unhealthy bond. The third point is that every time you do something, make a decision, or even have a conversation with someone, you have the impression that this person is with you or watching you. It's as if you can sense him or her right next to you. She appears to be monitoring you. He appears to be watching you. It's like that neural link, or that mental link, which is still there. I'm telling you this from personal experience. I'm telling you this because this isn't a healthy environment, and you can see this form of bondage in many relationships that are not in God's will. There is a strange desire to spend all of their money on that individual in order to please them. When there is a soul tie in a relationship outside of marriage, people will say things like, "I can't live without you. I can't be happy without you, or I'll die without you." But, as you can see, these relationships are not founded on the love of the Spirit. They are not founded on peace. They are not founded on joy. And these soul links can develop to body ties, which can lead to physical partnerships, sometimes even with the same gender. That's correct. I've seen people whose health has been negatively impacted by these types of soul ties. They get so preoccupied with the other person that they neglect their own bodies by not eating or sleeping. When the other person exhibits any symptoms of distance, some people start hurting themselves. I'm telling you this because it happened to me, and it's not a good place to be. True love is founded on Christ as the focal point of the relationship and extends beyond the individual. According to the Bible, love does not think about itself. Love does not consider itself. Rather, it aims to benefit. But, as you can see, it works both ways. It's as if you're attempting to fuel your lust. It's as if you'll never be okay if this individual leaves. It's as if you're a drug addict going through withdrawals at this point. It's as if you're going through withdrawal symptoms. Sex, you see, is something that is prevalent in today's society. Unfortunately, our society tells us that having sex is necessary to be socially important or to truly demonstrate our love for someone. It doesn't help that your body is changing physically and chemically as you age over these years. Increased hormone levels will cause you to have sexual feelings, not to mention that your experience and knowledge are expanding every day, giving your mind topics to ponder about that you had never considered before. The truth is, however, that whether we do or do not have sex does not define who we are as humans, because there is so much more to us. Sexual needs and desires are sometimes an indication of something missing in our lives. Our fundamental need as humans is to be liked and desired, and due to extrinsic factors, those deep-rooted needs instilled in us by God can be twisted into harmful and painful. People may not always turn to sex to satisfy their yearning for love and attention.